that they would freak out in Washington, D.C. But it can't happen here.
Hello, my fellow readers. My name is Greg. This is Ghost Readers in the Sky. Today is Tag Tuesday, and I will be doing the Mid-Year Freakout Tag. It is the 1st of July. That means we are mid-year, right smack dab in the middle. So let's go through the questions. Number 1, what's the best book you've read this year? I'm going to pick from Max Brand, Destry Rides Again. I thought the story of Destry just worked really well for me. I like a good revenge story anyway, and I thought that this one worked really well. So Max Brand, Destry Rides Again, my favorite book of the year so far. Number 2, what's the best sequel read this year? I went through and I don't see that I read any sequels in the first half of the year. I read 50 books or close to it in the first half of the year, and I don't think there are any sequels. So there you go. Number 3, favorite reread of the year. I'm going with Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson. Let me just quickly show off a couple editions that I have. So this edition was published in 1948. I absolutely love the design of that cover. And the inside is just the inside front piece. I hope you can see all of that. Somebody's added a sticker. It says my book, but really fun design. And then just some really simple illustrations, black and white, beginnings of the chapters. Yeah, that's a nice edition of Kidnapped. The other one I have is from Heritage. And so here we can see it. Comes in a sleeve. Ooh. So again, the impressive patterns on the outside. The Heritage editions always came with a little newsletter called the Sand Glass, and I do have the Sand Glass that goes with this edition. Heritage Press put this book out in 1960. It does have some illustrations at the beginning of chapters, like this one. Here's the photo from the chapter, The Flight in the Heather. Really nicely done there. So a couple of really nice editions of Kidnapped, and my favorite reread of this year. Number 4 is, what genres have you been loving? I've been reading pretty much the same thing that I read most of the time, kind of all based around adventure. So westerns, fantasy, frontier stories, crime and mystery, thrillers. Really haven't expanded much. My favorite books all are in those categories right there. Question 5, what new releases have you not read yet, but you'd like to? I don't follow new releases that closely. The ones I would consider Craig Johnson has a new book in the Longmire series. It's called Return to Sender. It came out earlier this year. C.J. Box has one in his Joe Pickett series. It's called Battle Mountain. Although I'm behind in both of those series, I do enjoy both Craig Johnson and C.J. Box and the series that they are writing. And so we follow up the what new releases have you not read with what new releases are you anticipating. I don't even know what's coming up the rest of the year. Like I said, it's not part of what I follow. I tend to really enjoy the older, more classic books. Number 8, the biggest surprise of the year. This is the year I've rediscovered Jack London. I've read a number of his short stories, White Silence, To Build a Fire, a lot of others. I've read The Iron Heel more than once, and I really love that novel. It's a little depressing, it's dystopian, but I love it. And I have read Call of the Wild, but it was a long time ago that I read that. And that's where I started. I reread Call of the Wild and was really much more impressed than I thought I was going to be. I absolutely loved it. And I went on from there to read a couple other novels, White Fang and Burning Daylight. Yeah, I have thoroughly enjoyed Jack London. I knew I liked Jack London, but this rediscovery and newfound appreciation for Jack London and his writing has been really exciting this year. Biggest surprise. Number 9, who's my favorite new author? I guess this is a bit of a surprise too, because I was thinking I had read books by this author, but I think I've just seen films made out of her books. And I think this was the first time I actually read one of her novels. That person is Patricia Highsmith. I read Strangers on a Train and absolutely loved it. The film, the Alfred Hitchcock film, is really good. There's, and I've seen that a number of times. And I think I just was imagining that I'd read the book because I saw the film. Same with Ripley. I know I've seen some of the Ripley films, but I don't think, now that I actually stop and think about it, I don't think I've read any of the Ripley books either. So I think this is my first time actually reading Patricia Highsmith, and I loved Strangers on a Train. I'm going to skip to number 11. I'll come back to 10. 11, your favorite new character, Guy Haynes in Stranger on a Train, is just so well drawn. He gets in a situation that he didn't mean to be in. He's trying to juggle a career and a fiance and an impending marriage. And in the meantime, all sorts of terrible things are happening around him because of the stranger he met on the train. Guy Haynes, I am really pleased that I got to know him in this book. So backing up to number 10, fictional crush. I don't really have crushes. There are characters who I like. There are characters who I root for. There are characters I root against. There are characters who I yell at because they make stupid decisions. But I have a really hard time having a crush on a fictional person. A book that made you cry. Well, this was one of those books with a fairly sentimental ending. It wasn't sad, it was overly happy, and it did make my eyes water a little bit, and that is White Fang by Jack London. I was not expecting the ending of that. This is the first time I read White Fang, and I was not expecting the ending that came up. And it did make me a little teary. I know that's a manufactured teariness, a manufactured sentimentality, but I'm not complaining. This edition of White Fang does have some nice prints, some nice woodcuts. Get a lot of nature scenes like that one. Like this one. Some really beautiful pages mixed in with this great text. Number 13, book that made you happy. This is a reread, Peter Pan. There's just something about that story. The boy who never grew up and the Lost Boys and all the different groups on the island. The pirates, the Indians, the mermaids, Wendy and her brothers. And everything about that book just makes me happy. I love the way it ends. Number 14, the most beautiful book that you read or acquired. I think I'm going to go with this coffee table book of the Wild West show. It is has a lot of pieces by Western authors we know, edited by Joe Lansdale. It includes works by Will Henry, Max Evans, Brian Garfield, lots of others, edited by Thomas Knowles and Joe Lansdale. It's primarily about Buffalo Bill and his Wild West show. A lot of photos, a lot of posters from the shows, and a whole lot of stories from Buffalo Bill's Wild West. For example, you get a nice 2-page spread like this one. I hope you can see that pretty well. Poster of Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. You have pictures of special guests in the Wild West show like Hopalong Cassidy, William Boyd playing Hopalong Cassidy on his horse Topper. Piece here on rodeo. Pictures from the national finals. Anyway, that's the do the wrap around so you can kind of see front and around to the back. It's a really beautiful book. I have not read all the essays or even come close to reading all the essays, but it's fun to just thumb through it and look at the various pictures and photos and drawings and posters. It's a beautiful book. Number 15 is books you need to read by the end of the year. I don't need to read anything, but there are some, especially coming up right now. It's hard for me to forecast what I'm going to be reading in November or December, but July, Private Eye July, and so there are a few that I want to make sure I get to. Philip Kerr's March Violets, Dashiell Hammett's The Thin Man. I have not read any of the Thin Man books or stories, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm also thinking about Mickey Spillane, probably Eye of the Jury, first Mike Hammer novel. So in the Private Eye world, I got quite a bit that I want to read. And then the rest of the year is a chaotic jumble. And the last question, favorite BookTube community members. I just want to thank everybody who has embraced this channel and has supported me. I'm on the verge of cracking 150 subscribers, so I'm still a newbie. I just started in January. I'm just just shy of 6 months on the booktubes, but I have already been invited to do some live appearances, conversations with other booktubers. I have been invited to co-host events, both June on the Range and Private Eye July. Have been invited to a number of reading groups and buddy reads, and it's just really, it really warms my heart, I guess is how I'm going to say it. It warms my heart to know that there are people out there who listen, pay attention, who, whether or not they agree with my thoughts and ideas, they still support them. I've met so many great people through having this channel. Some people I'd known a little bit before I started the channel, just from watching their videos and doing some commenting. It's just been so great to be part of this larger booktube community, to find people who read similar things to what I read, to find people who read completely different things, and to be able to discuss what we have in common, where we overlap, where we have experiences that are completely different. The Venn diagrams are pretty impressive. And there it is, the Mid-Year Freakout book tag. I'm not freaking out. There's no reason to freak out. Thanks so much to everybody for watching this channel, for supporting me. If you made it to the end, I don't know, I've recorded almost a half an hour of video. I know I'll slice it down, but this is still a fairly long video. And for those of you who stuck with me all the way to the end, I really appreciate that very, very much. Till next time, my name is Greg. This is Ghost Readers in the Sky.